Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I decided to, you know, teach you guys in a different style, so I'm revamping my page. So if you guys are wondering about the videos, that's what it is about that. But today, I want to talk about like setting boundaries because I feel like a lot of people, are struggling with boundaries. They don't really know where to start, how to start, and stuff like that. And because like I had trouble setting boundaries in the past, it was like, and it stemmed because like once you look at like the different aspects as to why you're not setting those boundaries, it can help you, clear up the thing altogether. But like focusing on um pushing away the things that you don't want in your life. And sometimes it could be hard because I remember, in my life I was, I had like people pleasing tendencies before. And what's another thing, I just kind of like over performed, whether that was like in school, when I was in school, and like even if I wasn't in school, I would try to like outperform and like tell people like all of my credentials, all the great things that I've done, and it would be like unsolicited. And like just looking back, I was annoying. Like, who does that? But if you still do that and you like lead with your strengths, like that's what I did. I led with like the things that I accomplished and stuff like that. And I realized that it really didn't help me. It's a spider, y'all. Oh my gosh. I've been getting over my fear of spiders, but it's just like it could be one behind me instead of on that chair. But anywho, it's just a small one. It's fine. But basically, when it comes to setting boundaries, it was really hard because it's like you want certain things in life and you try to figure out how to get there, but like it's like in the moment, how do you prepare yourself for that? Like I, have a mother who crosses my boundaries all the time. And it's like I remember watching a show, I think it's called Finks or something like that, and it's about fairies or whatever. But basically like the girl who had like the fire powers, she was basically like she was like a fire fairy, and like she almost burned her house down because she had so much built up resentment, and her magic was like with her emotions, and like she was really angry at her parents and almost like, you know offed her parents by accident with fire, because she was so angry and built up resentment because they used to cross every single boundary that she had. They literally took the door off the hinges. And I know that like people go through this because you hear stories online all the time about people having parents that literally don't know, like they don't think their child is worthy of having boundaries just because they want to control them. And I grew up with a parent figure who wanted to control me and everything that I did. And if they couldn't do that, they would take away things and throw tantrums and do all these different kinds of stuff. And so like when you're in a conditioning state like that, it's really hard to move out of it when you're transitioning into adulthood, especially. But learning how to set those boundaries, that's why you have kids who literally run away, because it's like you literally don't have no boundaries, you don't have no peace, you don't have no say. It's kind of like you're not even your own person when you are a completely separate person from the parent that you were born from, or whatever guardian that was over you. And I feel like that is like a really really good example. Like, let me think of another one. Like your parents not going through the phone. Like I had a parent go through my phone before to find some stuff and just being nosy, just trying to figure out. But the thing is, you could literally just ask me. So it's just like things like that. It's just like when your boundaries are crossed at a very young age, you really don't realize that like it, like, what do you call that, it folds over into your adulthood. And it leads you to, you know, over sharing stuff and stuff like that to people. They call it what is it, emotional spilling or something like that. But it's basically when you like, and it pours over into your friendships, your relationships, and, you know, at work and stuff like that. Like, that's why people talk about work-life balance so much, because like you can find yourself, you know, telling your personal information and personal stories to your coworkers. Those are people that you just work with. They're not your friends. Like, a lot of people can attest to, you know, people being you know, those things being used against them simply because you didn't uphold your boundaries. Your boundaries is ultimately your protection. It's your strongest, it is literally your first defense to like your self-care. Finding yourself and being who you truly are is like standing on your boundaries and leading with your standards. And I feel like leading with your standards and boundaries is the same thing. And I feel like you should apply them to your life. You know, just start applying them in small ways, because to be honest, it's gonna feel uncomfortable at first. But to be honest, if you don't want to be stepped on and ran over your entire life and you want to take your power back, setting boundaries is like literally the first step to do that. Like, people talk about calling their power back. The first way that you could call your power back is setting those boundaries with those parents, those cousins, aunts, aunties, boyfriends, exes, etc. You can't be friends with people from the past if they cannot respect you and your boundaries, whatever that looks like for you. I know the most important thing is like the oversharing. Like, when people overshare their traumas, they find themselves in a trauma bond, and it gets really messy, because when you're bonding over trauma, it isn't a healthy bond. And once one person or the other realizes that like it's not resonating with them, when you pull away from them, they're gonna automatically feel offended and go on the defense end and either try to, you know, destroy your reputation, or, you know, all the crazy things that people do when they are triggered. So like, when you bond based off of triggers and your trauma, it's actually just gonna come back and bite you, essentially. So it's important to never lead conversations with trauma and not emotional dump. That's what it's called, emotional dumping, actually. Yeah, don't emotional dump on people, because it's not okay. Yeah, emotional dumping was something that like I realized that like everybody did to me, and it really is just like an energetic exchange. And it's just like, you just have to be blunt and literally tell them, hey, I'm not in the mood to talk about this. Can we talk about something else? Or, you know, I'm not comfortable right now talking to you about this. I am, you know, I have some stuff to do. I'm busy. I'll talk to you later. And, or, you know, talk to you some other time, because you're not obligated to talk to someone every single day, every single moment of every day. I don't care if it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, mama, brother, sister, uncle, cousin. It doesn't really matter. I feel like you matter, and you should be the standard for yourself and make more time for yourself, because a lot of people really don't know how to be alone. And I know we're gonna shift into an era where there's gonna be a lot of people going back into that, you know, being at home more. A lot, you see, naturally a lot of people are trying to work from home more, start a business from home, etc. Like, this is just like the new era that we're moving in, and that's why it's really important to really hone in on your self-care and your boundaries, etc. Because there are going to be a lot of people that don't know how to navigate the world. There's a lot of people that don't know how to navigate the world, and they're going to try to attack you. And when you set boundaries and you stand on your boundaries all the time, you'll find yourself creating this bubble around you, and nobody can really touch you anymore. And I feel like that's like where a lot of people, like, that's where I want to be honest. That is your bubble. Your boundaries is your protection. And because when you have boundaries, you don't really, like, your boundary could be, you don't want to talk about trauma. And like that could potentially save you from a toxic relationship, trauma bond, etc. And like, the backlash and stuff like that comes with those toxic relationships that you build from those areas. So that's something that I really wanted to talk to you guys about, my personal experience with setting boundaries, because like it was really, really hard. It was almost like I couldn't speak. It was like I was almost told to shut up. It was like, I don't know, whenever I want to set boundaries, I used to get like this feeling of just like what do you call that? Like your neural pathway, that pathway was like completely blocked. I just didn't know how to do it. And when it came to doing it, my body like almost like rejected the feeling, to the point where like I would want to set a boundary, but I didn't. And when you did, your whole body feels like, no, why did you do this? And then your body will shift into like guilt, and then you'll feel bad, and then you'll start to people please to make up for that, and then you explain yourself why you're setting that boundary. You don't have to explain anything to anybody. You don't. When you set your boundary and you stand on that boundary, that is your boundary, and that is it. That's all you have to say is your boundary. That's it. I don't do that. I don't do this. I don't want to talk about trauma. No, I don't want to talk right now. No, I am not free. Yes, I am busy right now. Like, you don't have to say, oh girl, I was gonna call you back because I did this and this and this. Like, you don't have to do all that. And I feel like that is also a role in like staying in your feminine energy. I'm not really there yet completely in my feminine energy, but like I've been incorporating that. And when it comes to setting boundaries and stuff like that, it automatically puts you in this rest and digest, because you're not handling other people's energy because of you having those boundaries. And so yeah, is that a ladybug? I don't know what kind of bug that is. Go away, please. But anyway, but yeah, I know it's Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and happy Goddess Day to me, because that's just what I call myself. Well, I am a dog mom, so technically happy Mother's Day to me. But I hope you guys are having, a wonderful Mother's Day. And if you do have, around family and the toxicity, remember to set those boundaries, because those are going to be your protectors. But yeah, to be honest, a lot of people, you can read all you want about boundaries, how to set them, until you actually put it in action with your friends, family members, etc. You're never really going to have strong boundaries, and you're going to continue to be walked on. And that's pretty much the message that I have for today. So, bye.